Today is October 22nd, 2025, and this is Read Through the Bible.
And we've come to 1 Samuel 28 today.
And 29.
And 29. But particularly with 28, like one of the things we alerted you to a week and a half ago or so, I'm guessing, is the math that we have kind of figured out for this. So 28 equals what?
13 plus 15.
Okay.
Because 13 is a bad chapter where Saul made a sacrifice. He didn't want to wait for Samuel, and he made a sacrifice. And then in 15, it was also bad because they fought against the Amalekites, and Saul did not kill Agag, the king.
Yep.
And he was supposed to.
Yep. So these are kind of like the downfall of Saul. Comes chapter 13 where he plays the priest, and chapter 15 where he doesn't obey the Lord fully. And now in 28, it's kind of like that's how we remember chapter 28 anyway. This is a bad thing that Saul did. Right. He seeks the witch at Endor. It's a strange story.
Yeah, it is.
Remember, Samuel had died in chapter 25, and now we're going to see him called up.
Yeah. Okay, 28 verse 1. In those days, the Philistines gathered their forces for war to fight against Israel. Okay, so we've got the Philistines. They're lining up to fight against Israel. And Achish said to David, so David's still with the Philistines, he said, "Understand that you and your men are to go out with me in the army." David said to Achish, "Very well, you shall know what your servant can do." And Achish said to David, "Very well, I will make you my bodyguard for life."
Yeah, that's Achish, chapter 27, verse 12, trusted David, saying he's made himself a stench to the people of Israel, therefore he's going to be my servant, I'm going to make you a bodyguard for my life. Okay, verse 3. Now, Samuel had died in chapter 25, verse 1. And all Israel had mourned for him and buried him in Ramah in his own city, and Saul had put the mediums and the necromancers out of the land. The Philistines assembled and came and encamped at Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel, and they encamped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the army of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart trembled greatly. And when Saul inquired of the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams, or by Urim, or by prophets. Then Saul said to his servants, "Seek out for me a man or woman who is a medium, that I may go to her, inquire of her." And his servants said to him, "Behold, there's a medium at Endor." Okay, so I find it's interesting. It just is mentioned here about how Saul had cast out the mediums and the necromancers in the land. And so often people in their life can condemn these practices, but then when it comes up to their own life, oftentimes they can change. When pastors talk about no remarriage forever, and then all of a sudden their wife dies and they're without a wife and their theology changes. Oftentimes I found. And so, they want a wife. And so here, let's throw the necromancers out, it's mediums, but no, I need one. So it's okay.
Okay, verse 8. So Saul disguised himself and put on other garments and went, he and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. Secretive. This is very secretive.
Yes, because it's illegal. It's against the law of God, for sure.
And Saul's the one who made the law, and he's breaking it. And so they came to the woman by night, and he said, "Divine for me by a spirit, and bring up for me whomever I shall name to you." The woman said to him, "Surely you know what Saul has done, how he has cut off the mediums and the necromancers from the land. Why then are you laying a trap for my life to bring about my death?" But Saul swore to her by the Lord. So it looks like if she got caught, she would be killed.
Right.
So this is a very serious crime that they would be committing here. But Saul swore to her by the Lord, "As the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for this thing." Then the woman said, "Whom shall I bring up for you?" He said, "Bring up Samuel for me." When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice, and the woman said to Saul, "Why have you deceived me? You are Saul." The king said to her, "Do not be afraid. What do you see?" And the woman said to Saul, "I see a god coming up out of the earth." He said to her, "What is his appearance?" And she said, "An old man is coming up, and he is wrapped in a robe." And Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground and paid homage.
Then Samuel said to Saul, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" Now, that's just weird thinking about necromancers. Necromancer means, necros means dead. And so mancers, whatever, they're bringing them alive or whatever. And that's what's happening. And this is whether it's real or not.
Right.
Yeah. Whether this really is Samuel, who knows. But Whatever it is, if it's appearance or demonic or whatever, Saul answered, I am in great distress, for the Philistines are warring against me, and God has turned away from me and answers me no more, either by prophets or by dreams. Therefore I have summoned you to tell me what I shall do. And Samuel said, Why then do you ask me, since the Lord has turned from you and become your enemy? The Lord has done to you as he spoke by me, for the Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hand and given it to your neighbor David, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord and did not carry out his fierce wrath against Amalek. So here's a reference to chapter 15, where he didn't destroy Amalek and Agag. Therefore, the Lord has done this thing to you this day. Moreover, the Lord will give Israel also with you into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow you and your sons shall be with me, that is dead. The Lord will give the army of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Not a good message.
No, not at all.
Seeking. No,
not at all. And it is valid because it's going to come true.
Yep, you're going to die tomorrow, and we see that happens.
Verse 20, Then Saul fell once full length on the ground, filled with fear because of the words of Samuel, and there was no strength in him, for he had eaten nothing all day and all night. And the woman came to Saul, and when she saw that he was terrified, she said to him, Behold, your servant has obeyed you. I have taken my life in my hand and have listened to what you have said to me. Now therefore, you also obey your servant. Let me set a morsel of bread before you and eat, that you may have strength when you go on your way. He refused and said, I will not eat. But his servants, together with the woman, urged him, and he listened to their words. So he arose from the earth and sat on the bed. Now, the woman had a fattened calf in the house, and she quickly killed it.
Wow.
It sounds like a few hours that this would take.
Yeah.
And she took flour and kneaded it and baked unleavened bread of it. And she put it before Saul and his servants, and they ate. Then they rose and went away that night.
Okay, so this is really Saul calls up the medium at Endor. You can add some other things here. The deal was that he was going to fight the Philistines. Unbeknownst to him, David was kind of part of that. He was seeking counsel from the Lord. God wasn't answering, so he sought answers by this medium, this witch, this necromancer. Okay, chapter 29, we're going to see David then trying to fight with the Philistines. Now the Philistines had gathered all their forces at Aphek, and the Israelites were encamped by the spring that is in Jezreel. As the lords of the Philistines were passing on by hundreds and by thousands, and David and his men were passing on in the rear with Achish, the commanders of the Philistines said, What are these Hebrews doing here? And Achish said to the commanders of the Philistines, Is this not David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, who has been with me now for days and years? And since he deserted to me, I have found no fault in him to this day. But the commanders of the Philistines were angry with him. And the commanders of the Philistines said to him, Send the man back, that he may return to the place which you have assigned to him. He shall not go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he become an adversary to us. For how could this fellow reconcile himself to his Lord? Would it not be with the heads of the men here? Is not this David, of whom they sing to one another in their dances? David is struck down in his thousands, and David is 10,000s. So I think here I've heard before just about men who are in combat or whatever, trained in the Army, Navy, Marines, how much you need to trust the guy in the foxhole right next to you. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're saying. Hey, we're going to fight. We've got to trust David. And King Achish, like maybe he's lived here for a while, but he may turn. We do not trust him. He cannot come with us.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting, too, that they know of that song that was sung about Saul killing his thousands and David his 10,000s.
Yep.
Okay, verse 6. Then Achish called David and said to him, As the Lord lives, you have been honest to me. It seems right that you should march out and in with me in the campaign. For I have found nothing wrong in you from the day of your coming to me to this day. Nevertheless, the Lords do not approve of you. So go back now and go peaceably, that you may not displease the lords of the Philistines. And David said to Achish, But what have I done? What have you found in your servant from the day I entered your service until now, that I may not go and fight against these enemies of my lord the king?
Oh my! David's fighting against Israel, this very country that God has promised that would
anointed him king over.
Oh my goodness! And I think some was like David, like he's a fighter. He wants to fight.
Yeah.
And so he's forgetting who's he fighting for.
Yeah.
Like he's totally missed it.
So it's really God's mercy that the Philistine lords didn't want him to go
Right.
in the battle.
But David should have recognized that and just
Yeah.
said, no, I can't fight against my people.
Yeah, he should have. Okay, verse 9. And Achish answered David and said, I know that you are blameless. You are as blameless in my sight as an angel of God. Nevertheless, the commanders of the Philistines have said, he shall not go up with us to the battle. Now then, rise early in the morning with the servants of your Lord who came with you, and start early in the morning and depart as soon as you have light. So David set out with his men early in the morning to return to the land of the Philistines. But the Philistines went up to Jezreel.
Okay.
That's where the battle's going to be. That's in Israel.
Yeah. And so in terms of summarizing chapter 29, we just see the Philistines, the warriors, the commanders not wanting David to go up with them. In fact, it totally makes sense.
Yep. And so David is going to head back.
Back to Ziklag.
Right.
Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.